Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. There are a few policies that or a few areas of government operation which highlight the contradiction of this national government in education more than the Teachers' Council. Because on the one hand, we've got a government that says they're focused on the quality of teaching and on improving educational outcomes, and yet they do so many things that go completely the other way. So the review of the Teachers' Council came back and argued that teaching should be a postgraduate profession, that in order to enter the teaching profession someone should need to have a postgraduate teaching qualification, and I think that's something that's very worthy of discussion. And yet this government went the other way and said with charter schools, actually you don't need to have any qualification at all. Anyone can go and teach in a charter school and that's okay. So we've got a review of the Teachers' Council that says, hey, all of the international evidence tells us that the quality of teaching is the thing that makes the most difference, and the government turn around and say, well, we're going to ignore all of that, have charter schools which don't have to have qualified teachers at all. And I think that's wrong. In the early childhood area, where we were moving towards a system where we would have fully qualified and fully registered teachers, again, the government went the other way. And they have abandoned the targets that would have seen us moving to a more qualified early childhood workforce. They've simply scrapped that altogether, when actually what we should be saying is early childhood education is vitally important, and we should have qualified and registered teachers in early childhood centres, and we should fund them in order to cover the cost of that. And this government is not doing that. It's a double standard for Hiki Parata to come to the House during question time today and talk about the importance of trusting in teachers' judgments, when it is very, very clear that national standards is designed because the government don't trust teachers' judgments, because the government say that to parents that they cannot trust what teachers tell them, that they have to set these arbitrary standards in place instead. And even then, after they've set the standards in place, they're going to manipulate the results to get the outcomes that they want. So in the case of the national standards in writing, there is only one standardised assessment tool for the national standard in writing, and that's the EASTIL assessment tool. And this year, in term one, when it produced results that the government didn't like or that the government didn't think were reliable, they simply went in and scaled the results. They went in and changed the results to give them the outcome that they expected. So how is that in any way a national standard? How does that reflect a national standard when the government are just going to change the results of the assessment in order to get the outcome that they think they should have got in the first place? It's an absolute hoax. National standards are neither national nor are they standard, because whilst we can have an enormous amount of faith in the professionalism of teachers exercising their professional judgment against a pretty vague standard in one school are going to make a different judgment to a teacher exercising their professional judgment against a vague standard in another school. And unless there's something in place that ensures consistency across those, it's not the professionalism of the teachers that's at question, it's the very concept of the standards in the first place that undermine our education system and that mean that parents can't have faith in the information that they are being provided. National standards aren't a reliable indicator of a student's achievement. They're not a reliable indicator of a teacher's professionalism or the quality of the teachers, and they're certainly not a reliable indicator of how successful and effective a school is. No, I absolutely think there should be standards, but these aren't national nor are they standard. And in fact, good schools already were reporting quality information to parents. Good schools were already reporting quality information to parents, and in fact some schools are now reporting less information to parents as a result of national standards, because they're reporting only the standards and they're not reporting all the other information that they used to give parents. So parents are being duped by national standards because the information they're getting is unreliable. It's not consistent. There's no guarantee that a child being assessed at one school against a standard is going to get the same result if the parents took them and had them assessed at a different school, because the standards themselves are vague, they're inconsistent, and there is no moderation process. So for Hiki Parata to try and draw a comparison between national standards and NCEA is absolute hogwash, because NCEA has a moderation process in place. And there is no such moderation and process in place for national standards. National standards are not an exercise about lifting student achievement or about education. They're bad for education. Internationally, they haven't worked. They're not working here in New Zealand. We should be focused on making sure that we have a system that works for Kiwi kids. National standards don't.
Dr. Megan Woods.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm very happy to take a call on this teachers'